Collusion, fraud, and wastage dominating an audited report on the Royal Bahamas Defense Force that saw vendors underreporting government payments and the force using a vendor denied a business license. Based on the findings of the 27-page document, 5 vendors underreported the amount of payments received from the government by over $1 million. In other words, the payments the government made to these vendors exceeded the gross revenue actually reported to the business license unit. This in itself is an offense. The Auditor General report also discovered that the companies either did not have a business license or was only able to obtain a license just before conducting business with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. The report found that in some cases the force was the sole revenue generator of these businesses, which should be penalized. Otherwise, according to the report, it would appear that such activities are acceptable. It's recommended then that the Royal Bahamas Defense Force ensures that it only conducts businesses with legitimate businesses and that a copy of each company's current business license be kept on file. It's further recommended that those companies found to be in contravention to the Business License Act be reported with immediate effect. The report tabled in the House of Assembly on Wednesday also found that during the period of October 14, 2014 to June 26, 2015, $275,000 was spent with a home-based business that was rejected for a business license. On its invoice, the business quoted a tax identification number, charged and received value-added tax, but was not even registered with the VAT office. It was also determined that the vendor identification appears to be missing a number. It is unfathomable, read the report, as to how 18 invoices from this company could be processed without the accounting section verifying whether this company was legitimate. The report goes on to point to collusion and a lack of oversight during the approval phases and processing of these invoices over 9 months during which these transactions occurred. This manipulation of the system led to losses for the government and revenue not collected in customs duty, but also business licenses and VAT fees. The recommendation that an investigation into these transactions with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force be performed, government funds recovered, and the relevant authorities to take action. The Auditor General's report covers the period July 1st, 2013 to June 30th, 2015. Well, a public apology from the Works Minister may have been enough for the leader of the opposition, but Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell is calling on one from the Tribune as well. This after the paper carried a leaked copy of Ernst & Young's audited report of Bahamas Power and Light. That report, among other things, suggested that former Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works and Urban Development Philip Davis somehow influenced the awarding of a BPL contract to his brother. It was found that not only was the report incomplete, but Mr. Davis was the victim of an unwarranted attack. In the House of Assembly yesterday, Works Minister Desmond Bannister expressed sincere regret for what had happened. An apology Mr. Davis accepted, but according to Mr. Mitchell, given the Tribune's false and malicious allegations, the PLP leader should pursue a remedy in defamation against the press. Furthermore, he scolded the governing Free National Movement for what he called a disturbing pattern to parrot false narratives and then say sorry after the damage is done. Sorry, he said, is not good enough. Competition is what's needed to make some headway in the local economy, according to managing partner at Deloitte, Raymond Winder, who believes one of the solutions to grow a thriving economy is investment.
We live in a global world, and as Julian said, it's going to be a long time before internal investment become a major driver of wealth in the Bahamas. Today, and for some time to come, that wealth is going to be driven primarily by external forces.
But Mr. Winder acknowledges that some concerns must be addressed before the wealth can spread through the country.
Our national investment policy. For too long, we have been governed our country through a group of men and women called the cabinet. It is time that we get serious about what we need to be in place to attract investors. Too many investors are not prepared to come to the Bahamas because they're not sure at the end of the day what those policies are going to be. One cabinet comes in and they said the policies are this. The next cabinet comes in and they change the policies. We've got to ingrain in law what we would like to see relative to attracting investors. The legislation has been around for quite some time. That has to happen. That will begin to attract some investors who have just passed by the Bahamas.
Mr. Winder added, though, that external investments are unlikely until the cost of energy, land reform, as well as tax incentives are addressed. You're watching JCN News. There's more when we return.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.